It's the Anfield Wrap in association with RedsBet. I've got Gareth Roberts, Andy Heaton, Ian Salmon and Jay McKenna all with me to talk about Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0. But we are in association with RedsBet, the company where 50% of your losses, their profits, goes back into community-related causes. Do check it out on there, redsbet.com. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. And always be gamble responsibly and be gamble aware. Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0. Gareth, all a bit odd in the end. There's no real sort of end product of this game where I'm able to say, oh, there was this, there was this, there was this. It was a game with no shape to it at all, and Liverpool didn't play very well.
No, I thought they started all right, and I thought they looked like the side more likely when the game started, and I was quite happy with the start. I thought, United looked nervy. You see that Ashley Young back pass early on. We've got that indirect free kick, and you think, hello, Liverpool are on it, and they're not. And I thought, Man United show Liverpool lots and lots of respect in how they set up and what they do across the 90, but they obviously got more confidence as time went on. But yeah, I think I've seen some piss taken online about what Klopp said about the injuries disrupting Liverpool, but I think he's right. I think, all those people going down, going off, the substitutions and everything else.
It's as much the game going dead, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just
else.
Stopping, and everyone's hanging round and just standing round, and they didn't get going from there on in, really. And it was disappointing because, there's lots and lots of people arguing right now. It's everywhere you look. And I get it, to be honest, because while you can dress it up in the context and say it's a decent result and United's an hard place to go, and, Liverpool have only won 16 times in 85 attempts in the league and things like that, they were there for the taking. I think that's the problem. They were there for the taking. You felt that Liverpool should get 3 points there, and it's disappointing to only get the one.
I'll just come back to you on this before I bring everyone else in, because the argument, the way people are arguing post-match, it's almost a bit of a microcosm now of the whole season, in that a point at Old Trafford, I think most of us would have took it before a ball was kicked, and a point at Old Trafford is always a good result. But the way the game went, where we are in the table, if you'd have offered me, back in September, you'll be a point clear of City, 11 games to go, I'd have taken it.
Absolutely.
After we go to the Etihad earlier in the season, again, if you'd have said you'd be 4 points clear of City after leaving the Etihad, we'd all have been made up. But the way that game pans out, and there's loads of these, we've never had as many points at this stage of the season. We're a point clear. That these just sort of mount up, where simultaneously, you're just sort of aware of the scope and the scale and the opportunity, and you never quite feel as though Liverpool are grabbing that opportunity that's in front of them.
Exactly that. I mean, even the stuff where people are trying to spin it and be positive, and I get why they do it, of course. We all support Liverpool.
And there's a lot to be positive about.
Yeah, and there's loads to be positive about, but equally, like, Everton's got another side to it, and it almost feels like both things are right. So you can say, yeah, Liverpool have only topped the Premier League at this stage of the season twice ever in the Premier League era and all that kind of stuff. But equally then you can say, well, fucking hell, boys, do you want to start taking your chances when you've got them? Do you want to start beating the side? Yeah. Do you want to start getting ahead of City, because we know they're a good side, and this is an opportunity for you to be 3 ahead instead of 1 and all that kind of thing. And that's where the frustration's coming from.
The cognitive dissonance of supporting Liverpool in Salmon, it is killing us all. We basically needed, across the course of that 90 minutes, and the manager's quite frank about it post-match, we needed to be a lot better in the final third. I think you can look at a lot of the rest of the pitch, you can make an argument around all the back 8 that they all play reasonably well up to a point. We needed to be better in the final third.
Yeah, I think we needed to play better football all afternoon. I think we do start off very well, and we look like the team who are going to do it. We're playing with pace, we're playing with energy, but there's no connection up front. And I completely accept the idea that their injuries disrupted us as much as they did them to an extent. Obviously them losing 3 players is worse than us only losing 1 player. But once you've had that period of disruption, all of which happens before the half-hour mark, that doesn't excuse the second half. I think the second half is the most disappointing part of the game, because the second half is where we should be pushing on. We should be changing shape. We should be doing something different with our forward line. I thought at half time is the case for, Sturridge isn't going to have an effect. We've already seen that Sturridge is less likely to have an effect than anybody else. Push him out to one of the wings where he's going to have less effect. Put Salah up front. Put Manny on the right. Put Trent on, because they have nothing down the left-hand side. All their pace is gone. They're not going to target the area we thought they were going to target. Milner's having an absolute dog of a game. I didn't intend to do the entire game in one go here. But I think,
the Anfield Wrap.
And that was the Anfield Wrap for this week. He didn't need to come out this morning. I think the thing we've got there is that we don't take advantage of a very rattled United side. Although I know we'll probably get back to discuss the atmosphere from their ground, because that's got to be taken into account. The one point I think we do need to take into account across the entirety of the season is leagues are very, very hard to win. We're currently 1 point ahead of City. City weren't winning their first league of this era until the last 30 seconds of the last game of the season. They had moments where they were nervy. We can be nervy. We can go to United and we can be nervy. It's a nervy place to go at the best of times.
Aren't we having a conversation here, Andy, about the type of nervy we want to see? Because I'm perfectly. I mean, there's I'll say it again. You go and watch a mid-table League Two match between two sides who are going to come 11th and 12th, and if one of them is 1-0 up with 20 to go, you'll see plenty of nerves on show. It's literally part of playing the sport. It's part of the way the game works. For me, my disappointment from the game is it wasn't David De Gea man of the match. It wasn't Liverpool laying waste to a Manchester United goal when they'd showed that vulnerability. It was a game that just kept breaking down on the edge of the Manchester United final third, and that's where decision-making wasn't quite where you wanted it to be from Liverpool.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with the nerve shot. What I do agree is I think they may be trying too hard, trying to be a little bit too precise, trying to make sure. I buy the arguments that if United were stronger, we probably made more of a game of it. It's almost that expectation. Sometimes United are weak. They had the injuries. We just need to, and that can get on top of them a little bit. Like they're almost expected to go and push on now. I think also United were not forced, but because of the way the game went, it was almost reverted to a Mourinho-esque United performance as opposed to what we've seen.
But they had 6 minutes across the 18-yard.
I mean, look, it's one of them. Is that we said before the game, so it's not hindsight. You take a point, but it was the nature of the point. It's two very, very, very different things, I think. I think it has to go down as a missed opportunity, but it is what it is. It's just for me there's a little bit of confirmation bias in there, in so much as all the little fears at the back of your head which you've been ignoring suddenly start creeping in, and they manifest themselves and get bigger and bigger and bigger with every point dropped. And I think the trick with that is almost trying to find a way to dismiss them.
Jay McKenna's been quiet for 7 minutes. Suggests that engagement's changed him. There is something around. You've done nothing wrong, have you? You just got bodied there, and you're just thinking to yourself, "It's harsh, this, isn't it?"
Are we back on ban this filth or something?
Nothing else. Neil Atkinson's not around, and
Neil Atkinson taking his place. Taking his place. I think the shape things probably the most concerning. Jay and Ian mentioned the substitution of Sturridge. Don't get me wrong, managers have to make split-second decisions, and I'm sure when Solskjaer looks back over the game, he was regretting his decision to bring Lingard on in the way in which he did, because given the fact that the lad only lasts 20 minutes, you do wonder whether or not there's reasons why you do Sturridge for Firmino. But it did feel to me like one where it was either going to go very, very right or go wrong as it did. And it's worth pointing out that Salah doesn't play well, Mane doesn't play well, but you do wonder about that change there.
Yeah, I think that he's got a choice to make, Andy, the manager, at that point. He's thinking, like, we're on top. We're having lots of the ball. Will it come good? Is it going to click? And that's the thing. It just didn't happen all afternoon for us, really, in the end. Didn't happen against Bayern Munich in part, and there should be some concerns there, but it wasn't happening. So he's probably thinking, well, I go as close to like for like as I can. Yeah, I go as close to.
I feel like it's going to happen.
I'm watching that game in ours, and I'm saying to my future father-in-law, and say to him, I can see why he's done Sturridge here, a player who's going to get the ball into his feet. He's going to hold it up a bit. He might lay it off in or around the box. He's a bit better at having it to his feet than saying bringing on a Origi. In hindsight, and there was a thought at the time, you're thinking, well, is it Shaqiri here? And you change the formation, you put Salah up top. The way the game panned out, with Salah being very isolated, Luke Shaw did have him in his back pocket. Is do you make I think Salah was poor as well for that, but do you make a change and make United think again? Because I think the bit that happened with United is when they had their injuries, they did become a bit more Mourinho-esque. They changed their shape, and not just even the players that stayed in the same position played very differently. They weren't breaking forward. They didn't have Rashford to lead the line for them anymore and do that running. So they were very conservative. Like Lukaku goes to the wing and does an awful lot of work, and we just didn't quite then know how we were going to beat them.
Is there a little thing? I think pre-match, Jay, there was a lot of a lot of talk that United's back four can be got at, and I actually think if you come away from the game and you watch it back, as individuals, Ashley Young has a really good game. You can see all the leadership qualities he brings. Smalling's just come back from injury. He's a good one-on-one defender. Lindelof's difficult to deal with. Luke Shaw, you just said, played well.
We could and should have tested them more. I know it's on the agenda and stuff like that. The crosses into the box, that we just didn't. We didn't create a thing that threatened them, where we tried to draw them out. And I think that's where it then comes into what was our shape once them injuries happened. Should we have changed ours? Where you've got some more midfielders getting on the ball, so you'd make their centre halves, or you make their because Firmino goes off, that makes a difference. They don't have to worry anymore about their centre halves coming out to you.
Yeah.
None of their centre halves had to make that choice when Firmino drifts 10 yards. They didn't have to think, right, do I follow him? Because if I don't, he gets the ball, or if I do, right, he's going to play Salah in behind, and it might be the one time he gets behind Luke Shaw, and I think that it just made it easier for them to do their job than of just defending.
The first half an hour in, if it did feel like a matter of when, not if. That was looking back at the game now and sort of feeling the way in which it just becomes this weird, formless blob in the second half. First half, I was very much, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming, and then it doesn't come, and it just ebbed away at that point. But it really did feel like you were going, yeah, we're going to go in the break here 1-0.
Yeah, completely. It felt like a game that we were going to capitalise on, and it did feel very much, you get that amount of injuries to key players for them that's going to disrupt them. You think we're going to take it here, and we did look threatening. I thought, we're talking about how poor Mane was, but I think we're talking about how poor Mane was in the second half, because in the first 20 minutes, I thought he was excellent. He looked like the player who was most likely to create something by picking the ball up and running from deep. Salah was obviously quiet. Firmino was looking capable until the half hour, but after that, it just never quite happens. I think you then get that issue that I think the second half is the biggest thing that we need to worry about. We can't deal with. They went to what seemed a very orthodox 4-5-1, watching on the telly in the pub, and to counter it, we went to a very orthodox-looking 4-4-2. I thought, which basically you can't have a 3 to deal with 5 midfielders because you're going to get swamped. But we took away our attacking force at the same time as not quite managing. It just became a midfield game.
It's one where the changes make a difference, and then there's also the only real genuine moment of class, I'd say, in the game, Gareth, which is the Lukaku ball and Alisson's save. I think that both, to be honest with you, were absolutely tremendous bits of football, and one creates the other.
It's fantastic save, isn't it? It's fantastic, moments, and so easily could have given away a penalty, and it's almost one of them where you celebrate it like a goal, because you're like, that's a goal. That's a goal for them, and the keeper's pulled off an absolute worldie of a moment and kept us in it. But we don't build upon it at all, and I think it's just disappointing. Like what Ian's saying there, we just became too predictable. And Man United looked happy to me for Milner to get the ball, because nothing happened after that. Yeah. You know what I mean? What was the next pass after Milner? Don't know, because he just kept putting crosses into the box that weren't finding the man. And I looked it up before. He put in 17 crosses, and 3 of them found the Liverpool player.
It's about 1 every 4 minutes.
So
the ball's in play.
And it just became too predictable. And nothing came down the other side. Nothing came through Robertson. And yet, Man United just look fairly comfortable with it all. And we have 1 shot on target across the 90, which, bearing in mind all the ball we have, bearing in mind what we said earlier about where we are and what we're trying to do, and the fact that half of their players, like the reenacting casualty on the pitch, we should be doing something there. We should be trying to win it. And the changes, I think the manager's got to take it in the face on that ones and just say, Sturridge doesn't work at all. And Shaqiri probably should have been done earlier. When he is done for Henderson, didn't quite seem right. I'm not saying Henderson was brilliant. But I just thought he was doing his job, and he was doing okay, and he was absolutely fine. And obviously that loads now is being made of the little, when he applauds the fans and Klopp thinks he's snubbing them and all that kind of thing. I think that's a load of bollocks, by the way. I don't think there's anything in that at all. I think he genuinely was applauding the fans, and you can literally see him when Klopp grabs him. He's going, I was applauding the fans.
Yeah, he's explaining himself straight away. He's not doing a Kepa pretending he couldn't see the manager on the sideline.
So I think that's a bit of a storm in the teacup, and just, gold for Sky Sports, isn't it? But it's it's an hard one to cope with for me. My head's gone a little bit off it, and it definitely gone yesterday off it. I'm a bit better today because the sun's shining. And I've looked in the newspaper and we're definitely top of the league.
Done your research, Andy. On the Alisson moment, it's what we bought him for. Basically, it's literally the thing. You know, in the same way that last season when Salah's banging in worldies, top corner, left, right, and centre, you're able to say, yeah, that's what we paid the money for, and then some. With Alisson, that is what we paid the money for.
Yeah, and he done what the best goalkeepers do. He made Lingard make a decision. Strikers generally, I mean, Michael Owen is brilliant on talking about how strikers process things, and ideally every striker's got like a favourite finish. So Owen's thing is he try and sit the keeper down and just lift it over him. Alisson waits till the ball comes through. Alisson waits till Lingard takes his touch and then pounces. He's trying to exactly what he's trying to make Lingard do what Lingard ended up doing.
Yeah. What he said to Lingard is, he said, make your choice. As soon as he's made his choice, he said, I'm going to get you before you execute it.
And scooped it out. But the aggressiveness and the speed, because he could have easily given away a penalty there.
Yeah. And being sent off. Phenomenal.
I'm with Gareth. Because in the ball, because I was in the away end, so it was towards our end. And I thought, goal. I just went, shit. That moment
there's
before the opposition
goal
scored.
Old Trafford.
Last year it's a goal.
Yeah, I
Every
just
other
think
year
goal.
It's a goal.
And Garrett's right, when he made that save, suddenly there was a big lift. It was a massive lift. So, fantastic. And as you said, it's what you pay your money for. And I think he's more than justified his value. On the Milner thing, and we're talking about the manager, and I said hindsight's easy to give him a kick. But I don't understand, once Rashford was playing on one leg, why Trent didn't get on. If we're talking about an attacking threat, because one thing that Trent can do, he will carry the ball, but he'll hit the byline. I'm not knocking Milner.
He was terrible yesterday.
Milner's got a habit of crossing from in line with the 18-yard box, whereas Trent, he'll play the 1-2, he'll give and go. He's got that recovery pace where he can commit further forward.
But he wouldn't have needed the recovery pace yesterday because the left winger was out of the game.
No, I understand. I understand why he's playing.
Then he put him up top, didn't he?
I understand why he put Milner in initially, but I don't if we're talking about changes, I don't understand why Trent was left on the bench unless there's some injury that we don't know about.
This is partly why I think we didn't see as much of Robertson, because he put Lukaku on the right, and then he had to be thinking about him because Lukaku was a bit of an outlet for them, and I think the same probably happened with the Trent thing. I would have liked to have seen it, but there was a bit, and maybe Andy might say from the away end, was there a sense in the ground that you could notice Rashford was injured? Because the commentators were making an awful lot of it, and they were saying about he's walking and he's not tracking back, but United then had 5 midfield, and then he'd do a sprinty in there, and I was saying this watching the game, and I was thinking, it's very easy though to say, isn't it, he was injured, we should have got at him. You can't always notice that, and it was clearly an injury that he could manage. He could manage it because he still played football for 90 minutes and he'd gone down and he carries on. So you maybe if you're Liverpool, you're thinking, well, is he actually injured?
How injured is he?
How injured is he? Yeah, is he injured and that he's only going to sprint when the ball comes over the top versus things?
I'll be honest with you now. Until it got mentioned to me towards the end of the second half, I was pointed out to me. And then on the coach home afterwards, no, it didn't. It wasn't that noticeable. It wasn't like he was limping around or anything like that. Yeah. So, no, exactly not.
So does that affect the manager's decision making? Then maybe they're not seeing that same thing. They're wondering what they, because the thing with that is and I know what we're saying about Trent getting forward, but then imagine he had made that change. He's probably thinking, if I make that change and we are getting forward, and then they switch Lukaku. Or switch, thingy, and they scored down that time because United still was somewhat threatening and they still broke.
Yeah, they started the second half very well.
The other side to the hindsight was he'd get absolutely slammed.
But on that, Jay, just as sort of the other thing is when you talk about the changes, is he actually only has 2. By the time this becomes a valid conversation, that because he's lost 1 to the Firmino Sturridge thing, which you can definitely, and we will have a chat about it again in a minute as to whether or not it was the right move at that stage. But he does only have 2 subs to play with, and that I think that's very much in his mind as well. That he, in the same way that, for instance, Solskjaer can't do a thing, the Liverpool manager knows that he's only got 2 subs.
If he gets to 60 and he's not had to make a sub, you can see that.
If you use Trent at that point,
that might be the first sub. Miller's been booked. That's the first sub. See if that changes the shape of the game, and then you see what you do with your midfield. So your attackers. No, I can understand that. It's circumstances. There were some positives though for me watching that way, and it comes to the Alisson thing, doesn't it? And on the conversation on City, we might not have won the league yesterday, but we certainly haven't lost it. And there's lots of times where you would have thought Liverpool could easily have lost the league with the way they played at times. Exactly, City, and that is still got to do this. City have just lost players and all going on this, but there's that thing of, well, we're keeping ourselves there. We're not. At least we're not throwing the league away. We're literally not. We're still top.
There's something in, Jay, isn't there? The idea that they come out second half and they bombard us for 15 minutes. We're very much on the back foot, and then we get the foothold back in the game. And I thought that was arguably Liverpool's best achievement in the game, is they managed to turn around. The flurry started the second half from Manchester United, and then on about sort of 57, 58, the game was back to being played very much in Man United's half. Now, you can say that we don't do enough with it, because we don't, but we managed to get that initiative back, and we get that back by being grown-up, mature footballers.
And the ground was massively up at that section of the game as well, wasn't it? It's probably like the best you've heard Old Trafford for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, we all
Neville said that on the commentary, didn't he?
You'll rip the piss out of it and say, it's just full of tourists and it's not what it was once, but it was that thing, wasn't it? They didn't want us to win. They're desperate for us not to win the league. All the blades you've seen interviewed on the telly, I prefer City, I prefer Spurs, I prefer anyone but Liverpool, and that was the sense you got in the ground in that moment. They were like, we can really spoil their day here, we can go for it, we can win, and the players will have sensed that, and they were on top at that stage.
We do talk about the effect that we have on opposing teams coming to Anfield, and we do it with 55,000. They did it yesterday with 75,000. That place, I've never heard. And you can take the thing, where does Sky put the mics for the crowd? But you could hear us.
It was wrong.
Singing, but they sounded deafening yesterday.
That's where I think the midfield three, Gareth, they all have good games in their own way, but there is a problem with bridge into the front three, and that's where there's a little, maybe if for instance Keita plays, he doesn't play as well in aspect of the game as Wijnaldum, but maybe he gets it forward better. Maybe it's all maybes, but each of those midfield three, I think, in their own way, have good games.
No, I would agree with that as well, but it is frustration that none of them really do. Wijnaldum's capable of it, isn't he? And I think, he got frustrated. You see him hit a shot well over the bar and things like that, and you're like, you can do better from that position. And I thought there was an argument there for Keita at some point, just because he carries the ball. I know he hasn't been the greatest so far and all the rest of it, but I thought you got a little snapshot just when Joel Matip turned into John Barnes briefly and wins as a free kick.
That was brilliant, that.
It was quality, wasn't it? But that was what you got when someone decided to have a little run at them, and we never saw that enough. We were too predictable, like I said before, and so something a little bit to the left, something a little bit different, someone taking a risk, someone running at that defence could have given them more problems by the look of things, but we never done it all day.
Is there an element, and I'm not trying to excuse anything, but you talk about the psychology of it with the players. Yeah, a win would have been fantastic, but a defeat could have potentially been catastrophic. So when you're talking about risk, reward, etc., what is there an element in their minds going, all right, well, we should be winning this, but so
you win the next 2, 7 out of 9's fine. It's absolutely fine.
I think we could be sitting here in May looking back going, that save from Alisson won us the league.
So what I'm trying to say is, sorry, Jay.
Has he already said that?
He said the point, not that thing, but he said, was it a good point? And he says, well, we won't know. He's clearly disappointed. He's got all of the things he said. He's not trying to be positive. He's not trying to do nothing. He's not trying to be smart. He just literally says, well, we'll know if that's a good point at the end of the season.
What I'm trying to say
genuinely could be.
What I'm trying to say is, sorry, I'd rather lose to Burnley than Man United. Do you know what I mean? Just the psychology, just the psychology.
Well, Neville talks before the game. He's talking about the idea that this is easily a place you could come and the walls crumble. And he says that that you could lose 3 or 4, and Graham Souness, of the many moments where yesterday he wanted to kill someone, says literally watch it. The best, right? Watch it back.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Yeah, watch it back, but just don't watch any of the footy. Just watch Graham Souness. They should be. But he says, he was like, you really think Liverpool are going to do that? And Gary Neville's like them panicking, no. But it could happen. Like Graham Souness is just looking at him. But what is why the point is right, isn't it? That's how many times have we gone to United tonight and watched them spawn a goal? When that cross comes in, right, and you're thinking, the one with Roberts, you think there's a goal here. There's a goal. They're going to score. Because it's just what happens at United, Lingard. It's just what's happened to us at United. So we've changed that. Those things where you change, we've gone there. We've gone to Old Trafford. Whatever we think of this game, and it's not trying to be overly positive, we've gone to Old Trafford. But it looked like we could have just done what we wanted.
But the strangest thing, Jay, is I'll come back to we're 10 points better off now, I think, than we were at this stage of the season in 08-09, where you can look at the previous title challenge seasons. You can say Liverpool are doing this much better. It's an unbelievable points total. It's historic. Yeah. It's both for this club, but also in general for the for not just for the Premier League, but for the top flight, for the First Division. the flip side is, it is this, what if one more thing happens? And I think this side, if you go right the way through this season, I don't think this side has actually been very good in games where a draw will do. In that, a draw would have done against Napoli.
Yeah.
And we were crap. A draw would have done away in Paris. And we weren't great. Even games where we've got to draw, Arsenal away, we get 1-0 up, and I don't think we're terrific once we're 1-0 up away at Arsenal. And this is where, maybe this is the next phase for this team. Maybe it's gone from the sort of side who 18 months ago would have got beat there at Old Trafford, who today get the point. And if they go on and they win this title this season, next season, know how to get a point, but know how to turn that 1 point into their spawny 3 points. Yeah. They get the spawny goal. They get the goal that goes.
It's what Liverpool now get to do is go there and say, right, this game has got the same pattern. It's what Guardiola's done for City, isn't it? City's thing is repetition. And the repetition's based on you trying the same thing again and again and again. But City are used to playing against teams like that where that same pattern of play happened yesterday. So Klopp and Liverpool sit there and say on the 60 and 70 minute mark, right, well, this happened last time against this team, so we just need to do this now.
That's almost the worrying thing. No, I think what you've just said in that, when you watch City, you can see that, you can see those patterns. You see, you score loads of goals and you think, I've seen that goal before. Basically. Whereas with Liverpool, when they just get into a bit of a funk sometimes, like they did yesterday, you're like, I've seen this before.
Yeah. And but I think it's that thing of now there is a pressure and attention. It's what's leading to the either outright, what are you all moaning for, what's top of the league, or we can't, or this is the worst thing ever. Whereas the reality is what we've said in the middle. It's quite good. It's but there's a pressure there that we just, even if you can't feel it yet, you just know it's there. Liverpool don't want to lose the league now.
But there's my comparison there, and that's why I was in one sense when I was thinking about it last night, relatively relaxed, is in October when the game's got a similar pattern. There's been an injury. 55 minutes against Napoli, we go on and lose. And also, it goes, you get to 55, and I was thinking this reminds me of Napoli on 55, and maybe Napoli had a better side, or everyone was in a different place then. But that's why I was pleased with it on 60, that we grabbed the initiative back. It's almost like we've learned from the Napoli thing. We haven't done the next thing, which is go make it 1-0 yourselves, boys. But what we didn't do was get ourselves into the massive tangle we did when we were in Naples.
Yeah, I think it turns into now what happens next, and then it'll be seen in the prism of that. So, you beat Watford on Wednesday, you win at the Pit at the weekend, and then you're like, it's all right that, it's all right that, and then it's sort of thrown back into City's court a little bit. I mean, I still think as well, and maybe this is going to sound like a paranoid Liverpool fan now, but I think there is some mischief making around how football is presented now, and it slightly irks me. So, I was watching Sky Sports this morning, and they're basically putting up City's fixtures and going, they're all piss, aren't they? Whereas look at these dead hard ones Liverpool have got, and it's almost like you feel like the language and the graphics and Everton are urging us to fuck it up. Do you know what I mean?
That would be a story. They're looking for what the narrative can be early, aren't they? And talking around that. I think, for me, and this is where I think, fans should generally try and be at, the compilation of the fixture list for us does give us good opportunity. Jamie Carragher almost talked about this again yesterday, but I think I've said it on here. Break this down into chunks. So we had up until the last break. Now we've come back and we've had Bayern Munich, so no one's thought about Man United being a massive thing. So now we're all going to be ramping it up for Wednesday, aren't we? We're going to have Watford, we're going to have Burnley, we're going to be ramping it up for the next two. And then it's a bit like, and then there's a week gap, so we dissipate again. And then Bayern Munich's back around. So there's natural things to us. So for me, it's see where we are on Sunday night, see where we are after Tottenham, kind of thing. And then, and Carragher said this, he was like, and then it starts. Then it's April, and then it starts, and that's it. And it's the business then. If you go, let's all be honest, for whatever we think, and because we've seen where, you're right, Liverpool can have this little period where they have a funk, but we've seen what City can be like without certain players. We've seen that City played, 120 minutes last night and looked leggy and couldn't quite get past Chelsea. So, does that same thing happen? Do they lose a game? It changes it literally overnight. So we've got to just go through it now. We've just literally got to do the next two and just see where we look. In terms of everyone's getting too worried.
In terms of all the comparisons, just before we go into the wider picture, and the other thing is, we talk about the frustrations with our big performers, our star lads, our front three. It's fair to say Liverpool either did a brilliant job on, or Pogba just didn't come to the party, in that he's completely nullified. He barely gets a kick in the final third that isn't from set piece. He really does not get near the game, and that must be something Liverpool have worked on. And yeah, there's the injuries and it's all going on around him. Be fair to him, he's obviously a great player, but Liverpool keep him out the game.
Oh, completely. And I think one of the things about the Solskjaer era United is that he is still unbeaten, and he has turned Paul Pogba into the player that we knew Paul Pogba was, because he's given them the freedom to play. And yesterday, even after the injuries, that's the bit where you would expect Pogba to step up and take control of the game, because he has been taking control of the games. But we do nullify him completely. I think the Matip thing, his run forwards, which I have lambasted on about 3 separate shows, was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life yesterday. And if he can do that every week, I'll be happy. But he had a fantastic game yesterday, because for our 4th choice centre-back to not be troubled,
apart from the long balls,
but even then they're dealt with. They don't trouble us. But to keep a player of Pogba's quality that quiet, to keep Lukaku quiet, because we know that on his day, which hasn't been much of this season, Lukaku can be absolutely unplayable. He can be a real threat. So I think we did brilliantly in a defensive manner. And as you said at the beginning, all 8 of our back 8 are absolutely excellent. I think if Firmino had
apart from Milner, you slaughtered a piece of
apart from Milner, yeah, I'm just
pulling you up on that one.
Yeah,
there's a good foul from Milner on Pogba.
There's an excellent foul, but there weren't enough fouls.
Good foul from Fabinho on him as well.
There weren't enough fouls on Rashford though. Should have done a few more.
Well, Solskjaer was moaning about that, saying our treatment of him was terrible, and he said I'm not going to say. He said I'm not going to say he was targeted, but.
Should have been targeted more. So apart from Milner, I thought we were excellent at the back. But if Firmino hadn't got injured, I think you would have seen more of a link between midfield and the forwards, because Firmino would have been dropping that bit deeper in the storage.
We haven't got a Firmino light at all in the squad.
Because he will drop into midfield.
So telling, and perhaps not the best language really. I was just saying this on Talking Heads before that. The manager literally said it was a can't even say it, catastrophe. There we go. That Firmino got injured, and it's like, yeah, okay, I think that as well, mate. But you're the manager.
Shouldn't say.
Can you not say that in public, please? but he's right in that there's no one else in the squad that's like Firmino, and the drop off's massive.
Just going back to the tackle, the Milner tackle. One positive I can take from yesterday and a couple of games this season, we're a lot tougher.
Yes.
Than what we used to be. The amount of times you mentioned Old Trafford specifically, I'm not just physically, I mean mentally. We seem a lot more up for about, because the amount of times over the last couple of years we've gone to places like the Etihad or Old Trafford, and we've been beaten badly, and we just seem to be. We've got this. That's what I'm trying to say. Klopp said last year, unless Liverpool are either great or they get beat.
Yeah.
And I think one thing we've learned this year, and it's still developing, is not being absolutely 100%, but still managing to get something.
Well, not getting beat.
You're not getting beat, yeah.
We can get into the ring now and think that we can take on anyone, but without having to be boss to take on anyone. We're not worried that we're going to get a hide. We're not running around the ring to get away from them. So, we turned up there yesterday. I think you can take lots from that in future seasons. It's just that in the current moment, you're thinking, as Robbo said at the very beginning, you're thinking, can't you just take your chances, lads, and help us out a bit here?
Can't you, 3 points clear, lads?
Can't you have just scored one of them? Come on.
I understand that, but in the big moments we tend to come through, and I know we referenced it earlier, but you talk about big moments, and people think that means scoring goals, but also defensively as well. I mean, we'll go back to the Alisson save. That was a big moment.
Well, yeah, look, for all the fears we have from it, and at Archer and our mouths at time we're doing it, because we've done it at West Ham and it backfired a couple of times, but we're like, our defenders are like dead sure now. They're like, nah, that's the line, and like, we're going to stick to that.
Our defending on dead balls is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but as a fan, you're all thinking, lads, just drop 5 yards and make me feel much better.
That line's boss, though.
But the boss of it, yeah. But, and this is the thing I'm saying.
And
this is the thing I'm saying as a fan, though, is that we're all flapping, and it was only that West Ham were dead good at it that they blocked the player. And he gets a good shot off. There's lots of times where you'd be thinking, if that doesn't happen against West Ham, none of us are thinking about the line. But we're seeing it happen and thinking, oh, lads, just please don't let that happen. Because we're all nervous. It's not about how they feel about it. They're like, that was boss. They're going into training this morning and going, brilliant. They're not even mentioning Matip putting it into his own next to, like, he was offside. Because Matip actually, straight away goes, no, he was offside, you know. But we're all going, fucking hell, lads, what are you doing?
But that's the other part of the narrative that we're all believing, because straight away you see the commentary on that, and the commentary is, well, it's just offside. No, it's offside.
It's just
There's no
offside.
such thing as just offside. It's offside.
It's just a goal or it's not, mate.
Yeah.
And he's not offside because he's made a bad run. He's offside because our line is brilliant.
They look like they know what they're doing. And I'd say this in general play as well. I'll always go back to a couple of seasons ago when you can see the goal and everyone, like Lovren would be arguing with Mingale, or Mingale would be arguing with someone else. They just look like they know where they're at. Yeah. Again, especially with set pieces, I'm with you. I think that highline's phenomenal. But it takes balls.
Oh, absolutely. And
to do
that's the thing. But I think there's a thing as well, and it's going to be some positives with how I feel about it, whatever we think about the game. I reckon they're going into Melwood today and they're saying probably pretty much what we're saying on this table. Could have done better. Probably should have done better.
Sadio, do you want to pass to one of ours,
but we Sadio, you know,
mate.
They're in red today, mate, not us. But, you know, we know what we need to do. They're all walking in there saying, we know what our jobs were. And they're probably, I think, saying, we go to Watford and we do something. And then, but that's where it comes back to the manager. It's a key of, well, what do Watford do on Wednesday night? How does Watford play against us? What are Watford's plans? How do we change it? How we maybe made to change it if Firmino's...
I think he needs to get
stuff like that.
The lads up front there. He needs to sit them down or something. Just go. You're all right, mate. You okay? Because like I honestly think like it was almost like performance anxiety from Mane and from Salah, because the touches at times, the decision making at times, just. It was like, has the whole thing got to you a little bit? As you know, it's like you said before, it just wasn't the natural stuff that you've seen them do a million times.
I was going to say, we should probably say to them, right, you're going to get fined money for every additional touch you have that you need to have. But the problem with that is that they'll just give it away first touch, like you were. But it is that thing of just saying, let's just go and play football. And I'd like to see it against Thingy, but you know, you probably put Salah up top on Wednesday. You just say, like, just go and play football. Like, don't think about it. Just go and play football.
You're the top scorer in the Premier League, lads. You've been absolutely phenomenal for Liverpool. Do that.
Yeah. I think this is one thing that the Klopp has to address, though. The reluctance yesterday to move Salah back to the middle. We've played with Salah down the middle most of the season, and then moved him to the right wing. And I for one was fully behind the idea of moving him to the right wing because I thought he'd become ineffectual in the middle, and he's putting some cracking performances going to the right. But if it's not working on the right, if Luke Shaw's got him in his pocket and you've got this second 45 minutes play, shift him into the middle because their centre backs won't know what the
problem he had yesterday against United is he had to play so far to the right and couldn't get close to the box to be effective enough. So there's lots of times where he's far to the right and you give him the ball where he's only got a full back to beat and then he's into the box. Yesterday it just felt like he was getting the ball so far right, so deep that like he couldn't put it in behind him. He had very little space to work in, and it wasn't happening. So you do think you should change that. Part of the problem though is what can be your midfield changes to help that. You know, when he's got to take Firmino off, what's he changing in midfield? In hindsight, he probably should have went Shaqiri earlier, or does he bring on Keita, or does he push Henderson or Wijnaldum into that three? But it's where you miss a Chamberlain. It's where you miss a player like that. That, you know, what we want Keita to be, someone who can bring it out of the midfield. You know, if he does that, if one of them players is in the three yesterday, if a player doing that from the midfield's in the three, you see more of Salah because a short or
should be able to get around Mata when he's only got one leg though.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's that bit, innit? Yeah. There's all the bits where we could have done things, but also the bits where they just needed to be better. Liverpool win on the day. We just weren't at it. They just weren't at it on the day, and
Mane's mad ball to Robertson. There was just little moments like that where you're just like, lads.
We panicked. It was dead bizarre. It's like we got into the final third and thought we've got to make most of this.
I'm not trying to gloss this over, but just listen to you through the last 2 minutes. It's just hit home. Like, we've been to Old Trafford, we've not played well. We've got a draw.
Yeah.
And everyone. Well, no, but they haven't got a cob on.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. We've gone to Old Trafford and we've not lost.
It is that thing. It's what you said. I bet, City fans who were going through that season when they won it in the last 30 seconds, none of these conversations matter anymore. They've played United at times or teams at that time and thought, they've had this same conversation. And on the 14th of May, we'll never be thinking about that Old Trafford game the same way we will, because circumstances will have changed. It's just that 24 hours ago, we were thinking we had a boss opportunity.
Yeah. Where it leaves us, Spurs losing 2 at Burnley, Ian. It's if we'd have gone on and won the game, you'd have said that Spurs are out of it. They are now. They are 6 points behind, and they've got us and City to get over. You can imagine a universe where they come second. It's actually quite difficult to imagine a universe where they now get to come first.
Yeah, although if they beat both us and City and we drop points elsewhere, it could still happen. But I don't see that Spurs' mentality is strong enough to get through it. I think while the media's developed this narrative that we are bottlers and we're going to bottle it, despite the fact that we're still top of the league by a point from the most expensively assembled team in the history of mankind, Spurs do bottle it. This is what they do every year. This is the best.
I think this is mean. I disagree profoundly.
I
think they've shown. I don't think they bottle.
I think the best Spurs team of my lifetime.
Yeah, and that's the point. My point to be is I don't think they've got enough good players, and I think that they're just players aren't quite good enough. And I don't like this sort of trying to character assassinate them. In that I think they've done unbelievably well to come back from what had been 6 defeats so far this season, stay competitive, win the number of games. I think they've shown
not sign anyone.
I think they've shown unbelievable resilience. I just don't think they've got enough good players. I think they've shown unbelievable resilience.
I think that the Spurs team is an excellent team. I think they've got an excellent squad.
Got a boss manager as
they've
well.
got a boss manager.
Do not go to Manchester United.
Ultimately,
in case you're listening,
the history of Spurs. I'm 55 years old. The history of Spurs is Spurs fall down every time they get close to anything. Even this myth that Spurs are a cup team, they don't win things. Spurs do not win things, and they will perennially underachieve. And you could say that they're overachieving at the moment, but that is an excellent set of footballers he's got. Any of us would take Son, Kane.
If they were playing 27 and 13-14, they'd be on 60 points and they'd be 4 points clear. In 13-14, they'd been 4 points clear. I could go through all the years.
That's fair.
08-09, when United finish ahead of us, at this point we're on 55 points, so they'd be 5 points clear of us, and we're 7 behind United at that stage. So they'd be 2 points behind United. I just think at some sort of point I think they have got a set of excellent footballers. But that's the point, is that those excellent footballers have got them to 60 points right now, which is unreal.
Yeah.
And, by the way, 1 foot into the last 8 of the Champions League.
But then they go to Burnley and they lose 2-1 in the game.
Burnley are a good side.
Burnley are a decent side.
It's a place to go,
but it is. But they're not as good a side as Spurs.
No, at all.
Spurs should be winning.
They should win, but then every season you'd have some games that you don't win. You'd have a game that you should win and you don't manage to pull it off.
I feel falling into the narrative.
I'm glad we don't have to go there.
Spurs or Burnley? I know.
City have still got to go to Burnley. City have still got to go to Burnley.
What? I'd love it if we...
Oh yeah. Yes.
You know what you were missing there? A Sean Dyche voice.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Love it if we beat them.
Burnley are in good form though. But I mean, they were before the turn of the year. I think they were struggling.
They were awful before Christmas,
and
but they have been
since they win Joe
But the league's like that, innit?
Since Tom Heaton's come back in, you know what I'm saying?
Namesake.
There you go. But I don't like...
Andy just took credit for Tom Heaton.
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Literally.
That's the most goalkeepers union moments ever.
There you go.
And that Kepa was right to do what he done.
No, he wasn't. By the way, 75 million for him is a joke. The bottling thing, I think it's reductive, and I don't know where it's come from. Was it Tim Flowers? Like in the 90s when he mentioned that, I just think it's so reductive.
Atkinson said it to United when he was in charge of Villa. Going back all that way.
Did he?
Yeah, he used the bottle word, and then Villa fucked up and United won the league. So it kind of feels like you shouldn't be saying it in a title race.
Not that there's any use.
Yeah, it's loads of shit.
Because I just think I think that you've got 3 really good sides and they're knocking lumps out of each other. But the important thing is
Liverpool and Manchester City are just very, very good football sides.
And Spurs just haven't invested to buy the consistency that they need to be.
So you shouldn't look more than 1 game ahead, but we've sort of done United 0-0 where it becomes this horrible blob. Watford, Everton, Burnley, Fulham, next 4. I'm surprised by people are trying to put our fixtures on a screen and go, God, that looks tough. Don't get me wrong, Watford's are a good side. Everton have been a good side in 1985. Burnley will make it difficult when they come to Anfield, and I think Fulham have got a mad one in them against someone between now and the end of the season.
Watford beat the might that is Cardiff.
5-1.
And like, Delafeu scored an hat-trick, and so all of a sudden that means he's absolutely gunning for Liverpool, because of course we defend like Cardiff, don't we?
We've got Sol Bamber at centre half. My point, Andy, is we should be getting maximum points from them. That's what we've got to strap ourselves in for. And if we get maximum points from them, at worst we are 1 point ahead of Manchester City, because that's how the maths work.
I'm hoping by the time I'm going to go backwards. I'm hoping by the time we play Fulham, they're gone. I think they're pretty much gone anyway. But I'm hoping that
Fulham are relegated.
The Fulham are pretty much gone. I think we'll spank them anyway. For me, and I'm not just saying this because of the derby, I think the Everton one's massive now.
It is, yeah.
I think what might do us a favour with that one is that Silva needs something. Silva needs so in a way that we're talking about the draw now. Silva needs a big result because I think he's under massive pressure, and I think that could really play into our hands. I think
their World Cup final.
And they're playing Cardiff away.
Yeah. Watford, I think it's Watford's a good palate cleanser just to get Old Trafford and Bayern Munich out the system. Because I think the Bayern result certainly in the week kind of aided to the hangover we've got over today. Get Everton out the way. I think, yeah, we definitely need, well, you'd be looking at maximum points, but the ones where you think we might slip, I think the biggest game there is definitely the derby.
I think that's definitely the case. Firmino injured, but Laporte and Fernandinho are both injured for City. United players dropping like flies, Gareth, through the game. It's that sort of time of the season where we've asked these footballers to run, and that's going to happen. So it's a strange one. Can you pick me a team for Watford?
I want to see. I think what we talked about before. I want to see the players that are going to run at players and make a difference on the pitch. I think he'll go balls out. I thought he was fairly ballsy at Old Trafford, by the way, and sitting where the fullbacks were sitting from like the kick off. So yeah, I want to see Keita back. To be honest, I want to give him another go, get him running at players, get him confidence, get him up. I think we're starting to see a player we could work with there. I understand why maybe he didn't go with him at Old Trafford, and I've seen some criticism around that, but he's still not quite there, is he? Do you know what I mean? And I think Watford at home is one where he can shine, he can do something, maybe grab himself a goal or an assist, get involved, get his pecker up, as it were. So I'd definitely have him involved. And if Firmino's not going to be playing, he's going to be out.
I think you can rule him out of Watford. I think even if he's actually
leaving Old Trafford on crutches, that doesn't sound particularly good, even though we're still waiting for news on that. So I'd get Shaqiri in there as well, because I think he's another one where he needs reviving. It's been a while since he's made like a key contribution. And we need him to be making key contributions for the running. So he's another one where I'd want to see him revive. So both of those in the side. And then a lot of the side from there on in picks itself, doesn't it?
No Firmino, we reckon?
Doesn't look like, does it? Yeah.
I mean, if you can say it picks itself, I'll go over to you, Ian. Alisson in goal, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Andy Robertson.
All pick themselves.
And you're obviously picking Mane and you're picking Salah, and I'll take the Shaqiri shout. So that's 8 of them. If you want to even say Keita, that's 9. Where's Keita playing? Are you going to put him in behind Salah? Are you going to put him in midfield? What are you doing there?
Left of a 3. Left of a basically a pivot of 1 and 2. In the midfield with Fabinho as the holder.
And where's Shaqiri playing then?
Shaqiri on the right-hand side up front.
He's never done that.
He's never done it, but he's the closest we got to it.
Let's get involved. Let's be balls out.
If we're going to be balls out, we move Salah to centre, we put Shaqiri on the right, Mane on the left, because we haven't played Shaqiri anywhere near a left at any point. We tried Keita on the left of the 3, and it admittedly wasn't settling in, but I think Keita to run from midfield, either Wijnaldum or Henderson to play on the right of the 3 in midfield with Fabinho as a holder. Because I think Fabinho, at the moment, should be basically the first name on the team sheet. But I think he's in excellent form.
Andy, what are you doing?
I bring Naby off Trent's a given, isn't he? I'd try and get Keita involved in the midfield 3, potentially, for assuming Firmino's out. I might even start with Origi, you know.
Oh.
So would you move Salah or would you keep Origi? Or would you move Salah or would you play Origi off the left?
I would.
Or right?
I'd play Origi centrally.
And play Salah off the right.
Yeah, but push both the wide men wide. So typically this year, one of them's gone wide and one of them's been quite close to Firmino because Firmino drifts. If you assume you're playing Origi, he's not going to do that. He's going to play on the shoulder. So you try and stretch it a little bit.
Don't want to see Sturridge.
No, it didn't.
Well, he hasn't had a chance. No. He hasn't taken his chance.
But no, it's interesting. But no, I maybe give that a go, and then you've got Shaqiri off the bench if you need to change it up. I don't think you can play Keita and Shaqiri in that midfield. I don't think that works. So then Wijnaldum stays in, and that leaves Henderson.
Jay, what are you
doing? I'm changing the formation, putting Salah up top. I reckon you play Fabinho and Henderson. I reckon Henderson's gone off. Wijnaldum probably do with a rest. He's been sick. He's been injured. He's got that knee strap on. You give him a blow there. You put him on the bench, and I have Keita, Shaqiri and Mane behind Salah.
So you play Keita number 10.
They can do what they fucking want.
Sound, Jay.
Just basically, I'm saying to them, I'm genuinely saying to them, like,
Jay's application for new Chelsea manager.
Do you want? Yeah, well, you know, it seems to work, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So,
You'd be alright with that at Chelsea.
I'm positive that's more order than they've had.
Let us know when you want to be subbed.
No, I think you're saying to I think you put Keita yet behind Salah, and I think you say to Shaqiri, you go wide. But then a bit of fluidity, a bit of the, you know, Salah does this a lot. Salah likes to drop if he's not getting the ball. So, you know, do you put Mane up there a bit and see what happens? I just think we've got to do this thing where Watford aren't going to come and make it easy for us, and I think we could potentially get very nervous. Well, you put your own initials to me.
Yeah. I presume you know them. They're all Liverpool players.
Yeah. Mane, you're saying it's two.
I'm saying that you could make an argument. You could do an argument to do Salah and Mane up top together, Shaqiri off the right, and then you've got to work out who plays left mid for you, and then play 4-4-2.
Well, does Keita go and play left mid, and you play Fabinho and Henderson there?
Oh yeah, possibly, and you use Keita off the left.
I just think there's a thing where you've got to say, right, this is where nerves will start to tell. It's a game where we're all looking at it now to say, right, let's bounce back after Man United. And if Watford, because the league's a bit like this time, teams who have been crap then can turn up, they come with a bit of confidence.
Just scored 5.
And like Watford, you're thinking to us, like when we played Watford away, you're thinking, you know, it took 60 minutes to start breaking them down. I reckon our fans and team could get a bit nervous, so I just think we want to be on top of them. I don't want it to be a frustrating game. I want it to be we're on top of them and we just haven't scored yet.
Like the Bournemouth game?
Yeah, rather than a, oh my God, are we even going to get a chance kind of thing. So I just think you literally, you do what Liverpool's done in 13-14, you split the team in half, you'd have a goalie and you'd have 5 defenders and you'd have 5 attackers and you just say, go ahead, go and play two games of 5-a-side against these and go and do what you want. And you say to Henderson, you know, push on, because the other thing we need from midfield a bit is that pace, and and Fabinho does it really well as well, but I think them two offer us something very different in terms of getting the ball and playing passes. Fabinho is really good at that, taking it, being calm and trying to play it in behind, play it wide. Henderson with short, sharp passes, playing it into a Keita's feet, saying, go and do something now, getting the ball and recycling it quickly. Might be a good thing where suddenly people are looking at that midfield thinking, well, they're going to do two things to us here. If we drop off them, Henderson's going to get it short and can try and play short passes. If we come to them, Fabinho can play it in behind to the fullbacks, whether it's Trent or Robertson. So I think it just gives us more options in the game.
Okay. Prediction for Watford, Andy?
3-0.
Wowza, what a Wednesday night we're all having. Gareth?
I was going to say 3-0 as well.
Oh, God.
We're having a boss Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's going to be fabulous.
Strangely, 3-0.
3-0.
Go ahead.
I was going 2-0, but I'll go for 3. Okay.
Get him the 3-0 gang. Thank you very much. Well, he scored 4 against them last season.
No, Dabby scores, by the way. Dabby Keita scores.
Oh, well, it's 4-0 now. Thank you very much indeed to Andy Heaton, to Ian Salmon, to Jay McKenna, and to Gareth Roberts. It has been the Anfield Wrap this week in association with RedsBet. Liverpool have got this huge game now against Watford. Let's see what Anfield's like. I reckon Wednesday night could be another fantastic night under the lights at Anfield, where everybody decides to make it a lovely occasion for Liverpool to go, well, at least 1 point clear. I reckon City are dropping points to Bournemouth or West Ham, by the way, but more on that later.